And these are 5 kind of staple favourites, but they do change. My number 1 favourite, I think, is Lou Reed's album Berlin. I've listened to it a lot since I was a teenager, and I kind of revived my passion for it last year when I went to see it live. And he played with like a live children's choir and orchestra with projections and did the whole album from start to finish. And I just think it's so dark and takes you on such a journey, and there's such kind of duality in the record, and it's got all the old kind of 70s flutes and brass parts and orchestral parts, which I really love, which sound really cinematic to me, and his lyrics are quite devastating. So I think it's an amazing album and an amazing achievement, because at the time it was completely panned, and now it's sort of developed cult status and people love it. So I really like that one. I really like David Bowie with Brian Eno doing the album Low. It inspired quite a lot of the synths that we used on this latest album, on my latest album, Two Suns. Just sort of, I think my favourite track's Subterranean, just because it's got these kind of Blade Runner apocalyptic kind of soundscapes on there, which I think are really beautiful and melancholy, and I really like the production on it. Kate Bush, Hounds of Love. I just think it's a masterpiece, and it incorporates everything, you know, the whole spectrum for me, because it has amazing pop music like Running Up That Hill and Hounds of Love, fantastic songwriting, and really innovative and unusual production for that time. And Kate was using Linn drums and Fairlights and all sorts of beautiful instruments, but also has beautiful ballads, and then The Ninth Wave, which is on the second half, which is really odd, strange, kind of conceptual part of the record, which has like a lovely narrative and kind of storytelling and subconscious dream-like quality to it, which is right up my street. And I think she's amazing. Prince, I can't really decide which album. I like Sign of the Times, but I think I'd have to go for his greatest hits, just because I think he's the best pop music maker that there is, and so sexy, such good beats, usually very minimal and quite sparse, his music, but I just think it's like some of the best pop music I've ever heard. You know, I could have chosen Madonna or Michael Jackson, but Prince is the one for me. And finally, Live to Experience, the Texas Jerusalem Crossroads. It's a bit of a kind of underground, fairly unknown album really, but Josh T. Pearson, who was the main singer of this band, Live to Experience, played on my first record, played guitar, and sung with his beautiful, dark, angelic, deep southern Americana type, holy, ghostly voice. And it's a slight concept record. It's got a lot of biblical references. It's quite dark, and lots of tremolo guitar and desertscapes and kind of, you know, just all that beautiful American pioneer kind of imagery, all about devils and angels and things that I like. And I think it's a real kind of lost gem. So I'd like to see that revived. And that's my top 5 right now. That's it. I suppose for this record there are a lot of different musical influences. I think New York and the whole Brooklyn scene was a big influence, so that encompasses bands like TV on the Radio, Gang Gang Dance, MGMT, Yesayer, who actually featured on the record. The whole kind of New York music scene over the last 3 years I think has been really innovative and interesting, and incorporating lots of really good beats, kind of African, Brazilian, Asian, you know, like a lot of kind of ethnic influences being mixed with synths and all sorts of interesting things. So, so I'd say Brooklyn was quite a big influence recently. I'd say the Joshua Tree Desert was a big influence for this record as well. Just the expanse of nature and just the kind of dust bowl-y, American guitar-y, tremolo-y type of music that I really like. I think the desert really evokes that for me, and I guess it's kind of in line with like I don't know, just Entrance, this band from LA I really like, and I'm sort of friends with them, and they have that very much that kind of psychedelic Jimi Hendrixy kind of old blues sound, which I really like. Recently I've got into a label called Italians Do It Better, and they have bands like Glass Candy and Chromatics on their label in New York, and I think they're quite influenced by early Madonna and Arthur Baker and kind of dark electronic disco, like slow, sexy disco music, and I was getting quite heavily into that when sort of thinking about the sounds for this album. I guess Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac is quite a big influence for me, just something I've carried through from childhood and quite influenced by my mum singing to me in the car, or we'd sing Fleetwood Mac songs together, and I got like the DVD of The Making of Rumours and just like geeked out on Stevie Nicks and got really excited about her over the last few years. I think they're brilliant songwriters, and I like Stevie Nicks' voice. There's actually an amazing demo of hers of the song called Gypsy on YouTube, which is just her with a Rhodes piano and this kind of broken, husky vocal, and it's one of my favourite things in the world. I was listening a lot to Dead Can Dance, which are like a band from the 80s, 90s, Australian actually, but they kind of in that similar vein to like Cocteau Twins and, you know, that whole kind of shoegazery, washy, dark, beautiful music. So Dead Can Dance, just because they've got some really interesting beats, quite a lot of like, again, like ethnic influences, and I was listening to like Bulgarian folk music, and I was also listening to like Herbie Hancock's like early jazz synth music, which is really using weird arpeggios and things like Kraftwerk that use strange kind of synthy sounds. And because I did a lot more kind of synth and drum programming on this record, it was really inspiring for me to listen to those types of early and strange records. There's a Herbie Hancock record called Rain Dance, which is really random but really kind of really beaty and kind of vibing and African, but using lots of synths in a kind of jazz way, so that was really interesting. Yeah.